Should we or should we not vote for Trump in 2020? This is a question that Democrats and Republicans have to ask themselves. I would say independents, but we all know that your vote doesn't really matter. You might as well be throwing your vote away. Sorry. I mean, the last time an independent won was when? Exactly. So, it's not likely going to happen. But you do have every right to go down in the polls and select who you want. But the arguments against Trump they're just too many. While it is important for us to bring up issues, whether he has character flaws, whether he's degrading women, whether he's dealing with Russia, whether he's suffering from dementia or some other neurological condition, those are important. Yes, no question. But it's not working. He's not losing support from his base in any major way. He's not losing support from congressional Republicans in any major way. The people that were behind him in 2016, for the most part, are still behind him. And that's a problem because 2016 was a very close election. And if we have another close election like that in 2020, Trump is likely going to win again. And we need to ask ourselves, is he the best person for the job? Now, to answer that question, we need to ask ourselves, what is his job? Because everything else that isn't his job directly, anything that he doesn't have the final say on, doesn't really matter that much. You have the Senate, you have the House, you have Republicans, congressional Democrats and Republicans. There's several people involved in lawmaking and decision making. There are very few things that the president has sole power to control. And those things are very important. They involve the lives of millions of people. Okay? When you see a leader who is messing with the Iran nuclear deal, when you see a leader who's moving the embassy to Jerusalem, when you see a leader who has to order military strikes, or have to make a decision whether or not to order military strikes against Iran. These things are something that a president is going to be dealing with all the time. And these are bipartisan issues. These issues can lead to war. So these are the issues that we really need to concern ourselves with when we choose our next president, or choose to keep this president in office. Not saying that any of the other concerns are any less or are not important, but they are less important. Whether or not he's a womanizer or he has mistresses doesn't really concern the lives of millions of people. So those things have to be, those arguments and those issues really need to take a back seat, because they're really taking attention from the things that Americans, Republicans as well, need to be focusing on. If Republicans are always focusing on, everyone who says something negative about Trump is just talking crap, basically. He cheated on his wife, or he did this, or he did that, he was connected to the mob back in the 70s. Whether or not he was, it's not something that is important today. It's not something that's going to be important in 2020. And so Republicans who we could possibly get to vote against Trump are going to be pushed in the other direction. They're going to be like, hey, look, I don't want to listen to all the crap that's circling about Trump. And it kind of feeds into the fake news media. What's real and what's fake. We need to focus on the important things. Everything else needs to be thrown out the window, basically, for right now. We need to ask ourselves, as Republicans, as Democrats, is this president a person who surrounds himself with knowledgeable people? Is this president someone who surrounds himself with people who have an open mind, who've worked across the aisle, who haven't shown consistent bias, spread messages of hate, division, who takes all information into account, not just the information he gets from his friends or his family? That's the decision that voters have to make in 2020. They must hold these considerations higher than everything else, because when we look at America today, we're not living in a country where we can confidently say either candidate that wins the presidency will look at all the evidence in a situation without extreme bias. We can't say with confidence that the next person who gets elected won't get into childish arguments with dictators with nuclear weapons. We can't say that the next president who wins is going to be taking the word of brutal dictators over American intelligence communities. We used to live in an era where you could say that. Whether a Republican run or whether a Democrat run, they were going to be on our side, for sure. The side of America. The side of facts. The side of, it's hard to even understand the arguments that this president has made or the people that he's supported. But my next videos will analyze this president's behaviors, the decisions he's made over the past 3 years, so we can get an idea of how this person thinks and whether or not the way he thinks and the way he makes his decisions are best for the American people going forward. Thank you for watching.